Hello and welcome to Waterproof Records podcast with Jacob Givens. That's me, your host, and this episode is the first guest episode of 2025, the first of many guest episodes to come, and I'm excited to sit down today with Cody Hanson from the rock band Hinder. Hinder was formed in 2001 in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and then their major label debut, their studio album Extreme Behavior, which celebrates 20 years this year. The band's about to hit the road to celebrate that 20-year milestone and also drop a lot of the new tracks that are on their forthcoming album. But it was really fun to sit down with Cody Hanson today and talk to him a little bit about his upbringing, his youth, growing up in Oklahoma, which we both share, and I'm excited to talk to him. So I will not hinder you from this show any further. Yes, I had to. Do not judge me. I'm a dad. I make dad jokes. So without further ado, let's talk to Cody Hanson from the band Hinder. Let's go.
Things are going to change. I can feel it.
If this going to be that kind of party, I'm going
Waterproof Records. Waterproof Records. Waterproof Records with Jacob Givens.
All right, we're going to get to the interview here in a second, but of course, first, I got to mention the special link to save you 30% from DistroKid when you're uploading your music. All you have to do is my special link, which is distrokid.com/VIP/waterproof. It can be uppercase, it can be lowercase, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you type that in, and you're going to get 30% off your first year. So you need to make your album, make your EP, make whatever it is. You need to just like bang on pots and pans in your kitchen, but upload it, and you get 30% off. And then DistroKid is the easiest way for you to track your streams, get your revenue, share it with your other bandmates, or you, the solo artist. So make sure you check out distrokid.com/VIP/waterproof. Get that 30% off. But you're here. We're going to be talking to Cody Hanson. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get to the interview. Welcome to Waterproof Records, Cody Hanson from Hinder. Thanks for joining me here today.
Thanks for having me, dude. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the first thing I want to tell you right off the bat is that we share something in common in that I am an Oklahoma boy myself.
Really?
Yes, I am.
What part?
I was born and raised in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I had grandparents in Tulsa for a while. My brother lived there for several years. So
Yeah.
it's right down the road from Oklahoma City.
Right down the road from Oklahoma City, man. And you were in a suburb of Oklahoma City, right? Jones?
Yeah. It's like just like seven miles.
7
east.
miles outside of it. Yeah, I got some friends that born and raised in Yukon, just on the other side. And
In Yukon as well. So yeah.
there's a fair amount of some cool rockers that come out of Oklahoma for sure. You know, we got Hinder, we got the Flaming Lips, we got
All American Rejects.
All American Rejects. Yeah, Hanson, which you share a namesake with. Come on.
I mean, it doesn't get much cooler than that, right? Roombop.
Yeah, let me ask, how many times in your life have you been asked if you've been related to those brothers, huh?
Like every time I have to pull out my ID. Every time.
Yeah, for sure. You're like, there are other Hansons, man. There are other Hansons.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah. So
I love it. Yeah. So you grew up, you were born in Texas, moved to Oklahoma when you were young. I was born and raised in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and my folks are still there. And so we grew up in a similar part of the world, which means that we probably share a lot in common about our musical journeys growing up, because when you grow up in that part of the world, it's not like the biggest bands in the world are cruising through, or we really have our finger on the pulse of like what's popular. So I wanted to know, kind of like, when you were a kid, where were you getting your music fix from? Were you MTV, radio? Did you have cousins, siblings that were giving you the cool older kid stuff?
yeah, it was more siblings. Yeah, we didn't have cable. We didn't have satellite growing up. So like
Right.
even to this day, when everybody's talking about all these like old school music videos, I have no idea what the hell they're talking about. Like, yeah, totally have seen that. I haven't.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
for me, like when I was young, I had an older sister that was 10 years older than me, and she was really into gangster rap, and that kind of funneled down to my older brother, and then to me. So I'm running around the house talking about, bitches and cop killing, and I'm like, I'm tiny, listening to Two Live Crew and
Oh man,
NWA and So I got really into that. And it wasn't until a little bit later that I kind of stumbled upon like Bad Company on the song Shooting Star.
There you
and
go.
Really loved how that song, it told a story with emotion. And I think from that moment on, that's what got me into rock music.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm sure your folks loved that gangster rap cranking around your house, right? Being from where you grew up.
Yeah, I'm thinking about this like all the time. Like, what were my parents doing? Like, letting me listen to this shit. Like, I mean, it wasn't like I was quiet about it. I wasn't hiding it.
Oh my God.
I would say really awful shit in public and embarrass everyone as a result of that.
Oh my God. You had, so my parents were super strict. They like, I got into heavy metal, a little bit like, well, Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, things like that. And so my parents were so freaked out being religious Oklahoma Bible Belt parents. And so they would take my tapes, throw them in the trash. They were so terrible. It was the Satanic Panic era. And so, I did get my hands on 2 Live Crew, and I don't think they ever knew. I had like a dubbed copy that was like hidden, not the real As Nasty As They Want to Be cover, but I totally had those as well. But it's always fun to sneak music around the house.
Yeah, man. I mean, my mom was really cool. I remember she would take me to the mall and pick up like whatever cassette or CD that I wanted. Like, and then she let me listen to it in the car on the way home, and she was super cool about it.
You had the coolest Oklahoma mother I've ever heard of. That is crazy.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
It was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome. And then, but of course, my dad was like, he's Mr. Bricklayer guy, so it was like nothing but country.
Nothing but country.
So, which was great. I mean, you can't beat 90s country. So, I mean, at least now. I hated it back then, but now I appreciate it. So.
Isn't it funny? You hit on a good point. My mother and father would play in the car all the time, like Willie Nelson and Patsy Cline, and my brother and I would make fun of it all the time. We'd sit in the back of the car, we'd just be like, "I'm all the girls I'm looking for." And now when I hear Willie Nelson, I'm like whisked back in time, and my heart is full, and it just takes me back to a very, very special time in my childhood for sure.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. I bump the 90s country playlist all the time on my phone now.
I love it. I was going to say, okay, so we got into the rock. We got the Bad Company. We introduced it. And so we get, I'm pretty sure you get your first drum kit when you're around 12, if my research is correct. Is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Did you ask for the drum kit because you'd heard a band and decided, like, I need to play drums? Was there an album that tipped you off to it? Is this what leads us to our waterproof record? Had you heard the one that you're about to share with my audience right now, and that's why you got drums?
It's possible. Okay. I remember going to, every time my parents could take me to a live show, like just local bands and stuff. For some reason, I was always just fixated on the drummer. And then, I guess as a result, maybe it might have been. Now that I think about this, I'm going to catch all kinds of shit for this album now.
Well, good. That's what I want in your life, Cody. I want you to just get the most shit possible. So let's talk about it, because your pick is great. I'm a fan of this album, and that one, it's divisive. It can be a little bit of a divisive album in terms of the fan base. And then also, this drummer gets shit all the time.
He does.
So let's go ahead and share with the audience, what was your waterproof record?
Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to say, and I thought about this a lot, because I'm not like an album like kind of guy. I'm really into like individual tracks, right? If a song is really great, I'm really into it. But yeah, I think the Metallica Black Album really changed some things for me, because there was heavy stuff out there before that, but for some reason it was like that album had like the mid-tempo grooves with the heaviness. It wasn't just like all super fast and thrash, and it was like the first thing that I had heard that was heavy, that had like catchy riffs. It had hooks. The songwriting was really, really great. But I think it was the drums sounded incredible. They were big, They had a really solid groove that you could nod your head to. But, also all the lead guitar work on that album is just absolutely incredible.
Flawless.
It was awesome. I remember my grandpa, my dad's dad, who was a bluegrass musician, would always come down, and we'd always, write little kid songs and stuff. And I remember once I got a little older and started getting into that album, I remember making my dad, who I told you earlier was into nothing but country, and my bluegrass loving grandfather sit in the kitchen and just like listen to Kirk Hammett solos over and over and over. And they were like, "Oh, you haven't heard anything. You should hear Chet Atkins." And he was amazing too. So that's cool.
Sure.
I'm sure they just thought I was the biggest idiot ever, making them listen to Metallica.
I love it. It. That's
I'd say that one.
Bob Rock's slick produced album, and really what made it so polarizing is here you have this, thrash metal band, and then they finally get a chance to do this thing that's just recorded so well. It's slick, it's nice. They've taken the time. There was back then they were airing so many behind the scenes of them recording that album. The video for Nothing Else Matters is literally showing them in the studio just trying and getting frustrated, and you could see it was just like they really put their heart and soul into it. And so when you chose it, I'm glad you did. I did an entire episode highlighting how important that album was, because it really opened the door to harder, heavier metal to people that didn't know how to get close to it. You know what I mean? It really made it something. And you either chose to just kind of have that version of Metallica and move on, or it would open the floodgates and you'd start being like, well, now I want to go back to Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets and Justice for All and, all that stuff. So I just think it's a very important album in terms of like songwriting and really understanding how can you share something that you think is amazing with people that will sometimes have their fingers in their ears about it. You know what I mean? And I think that music needs a way to kind of reach out to people that are uncomfortable with certain genres and styles, and that's a good record for that. And that's a good example of Hinder and how you guys have this great, full, rich sound. And I'm hearing in your latest music, you guys are pushing into some cool shit. That Everything's a Cult song, man, come on.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I was going to say that album is like a great example of how a band can evolve and change and improve in my eyes.
Yes.
Like I said, I'm sure, so all the Metallica diehards are going to get pissed about that statement, but
sure.
To me, that was an evolution, and I just a great example about how a band can evolve and continue to grow.
Yeah, that's a perfect way of putting it. They evolved, and that's exactly what we have. Is we have some stubborn metalheads that are like, no, you can't get better. You have to stay in the garage, and you have to your recordings have to sound like shit because it's the only reason I don't have a girlfriend.
That's right. I love it.
And that's what it ends up being. It's so funny how music you want to hold on to it, and people want to just to see the band that they love to change or grow or mature. It's like they forget sometimes. It's like that is a human being over there who's going through love and loss and growing up, and your worldview changes, and so things are going to change. You gotta deal with it. So you on the stuff you guys are doing now, Everything's a Cult, cool, great riffs in that. I watched the video. It's in the cinematic, super widescreen. I'm like,
we're so artistic, bro.
So artistic, bro. And the great effects in there. And then there's like kind of a rap thing in the middle, and that's you.
Yeah,
look at you.
Okay, so funny story on this part. It was not supposed to it wasn't supposed to end up being that actual part. So we kind of wrote that as like a placeholder almost. And we were going to go and find a feature. The idea was somebody with a real heavy, metal-y voice that could, really just bring some weight to the track.
Right.
And we just couldn't really find the right fit. And, anybody that we had in mind they were probably too busy, too too big for little old us, you know what I mean? Or we're not cool enough anymore, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we didn't end up finding anybody, and so we just kind of left it. And so there I am. Like
There's those rap skills. Those rap skills. You set it up earlier. Set up, payoff. Here he is. He's a little kid. He's listening to his gangster rap around his house. And then when it comes time, they're like, hey, Cody, can you just come over here and drop these temporary bars? And you're like, yeah, no problem. And then it stays. It stays.
I will say, though, there is not much that's more fun than rapping in the studio.
Oh, yeah.
Like creating a rap song in the studio is so much fun.
Oh, I can't even imagine. I mean, especially since, you've been in hard rock game forever. And then you get behind there, have those headphones on, be in that booth and just be like, yeah.
Oh, it's so silly. We have so many rap songs that we've done. Just
that's great.
Sitting on a hard drive.
No, all right. You heard it here first. Someday we're gonna get the it's like the Prince vault. We're gonna get a whole bunch, just hundreds of rap from Hinder.
No, you're not. But it's there. It's there, but you're not gonna get it. So.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe just for us Oklahoma boys. I'll come back to Oklahoma and you can show me.
Bring it on.
Well, I was gonna say so. We made the joke earlier. No disrespect, Mr. Lars Ulrich. He really has an important place in rock history and metal history as his contributions.
You know what? I'm going to touch on this real quick, because I get tired of seeing the hate. You know what I mean?
I do too.
What he does, he's really good at, and when you hear his parts, you know it's him. Yeah. You know. And so if you can do that as a drummer, just have a recognizable style, then you're years ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
Suck it.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I was a kid, the first Metallica video I ever saw, I saw the One video. And this is a time when, double bass drums just were not the norm. You were not hearing those kick patterns like that. I mean, maybe they were in some more of the underground thrash scenes that the kids growing up in Oklahoma haven't heard yet. But I'm watching MTV and I hear that, and I was just absolutely floored. It was the first time that I'd felt the drums just rapid fire me like that. And so you can't ignore the fact that is a foundational moment for probably an entire generation of drummers, that they heard that and they said, not only is that amazing, but I want to push myself to do something even further, faster, more interesting rhythms. So, it's just like Ringo, he used to get a lot of shit too for the Beatles, and every drummer will come forward and say, dude, you don't have the Beatles without Ringo. He had to have that guy.
Yep.
He was
all
perfect.
The pieces had to fit together at the right time.
Yeah.
The right group of people, or it's just not a thing. Figure out how it works.
Yeah. So you're inspired by the sounds that you're hearing in rock music. There's probably a myriad of drummers that come along and inspire you. But what I thought was interesting is you get your drum kit, you play, and then when you're a teen, you kind of move on over to the guitar for a little while, and then when it comes time to start up the band, you hadn't played drums in a year or two. That's right?
Yeah, I hadn't played music at all in quite some time. And after I went to school, I really didn't have any interest in playing in a band at all. And as a matter of fact, once, we always did let's get together and jam sometime at parties. We were all drunk.
Sure.
When we first set it up, I thought to myself, and even mentioned it to my girlfriend at the time, I think, if this goes well, maybe I'll just pass this on to, one of my other buddies that I know, that plays the drums. And then just once we did it, that first day was just I don't know, there was something that felt different, something that felt like almost, I don't want to be cheesy, but it was magical about it, something very special. It felt different. And so we recorded that first practice on one microphone on a little karaoke machine. Yeah. And, it was a song, an original song already on the first day. Wow. And I remember we went to parties and made people listen to that shitty cassette tape over and over and over again.
Good for you.
And it sounded terrible, and I'm sure we annoyed some people, but I'll be damned if a handful of people didn't get really into it.
Yeah.
And the word kind of spread. And then
That's great.
Or you know it, every time we'd play a party, it was packed.
That's awesome.
That carried over into the bars, the local bars, and it just kind of kept going from there.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's incredible. And that's how it all begins. And probably even the time that you played guitar, took a break from the drums, it probably really informs just songwriting for you personally. Like when you guys are putting some music together and you're sitting down in the studio, you're coming together, you can approach it not only as a drummer, but you do understand the chords and how things go along on the guitar. Has that helped along the way in the 20-year journey of everything that's been going on?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I don't think you could sit down and write a song without being able to play guitar or piano or at least being able to create a chord structure and know what you're doing there.
Yeah.
So absolutely. I mean, you have to have it. So
yeah, that's good. Well, it is the 20th anniversary of Extreme Behavior and Lips of an Angel, and you guys are heading out on the road, Back to Life tour. Has it already begun?
Well, yeah. I mean, right now we're doing a little run right before. Okay. So we're in Minnesota, Medina, Minnesota.
Okay.
Heading up
cold?
To cold. It's going to be colder tomorrow. We're heading up to Ontario Bay.
Oh boy.
So up in Canada, and then one more show after that, I think, and then headed back home for pre-production. So we start kind of rehearsing some new stuff and some new production for the show, and getting ready for the big one.
Awesome. Yeah, I think you guys are cruising through. I'm out in LA, so I think you're cruising through LA and playing the Whiskey a Go-Go on, I think it's like February 18th or something. So I think I'm going to be there, man. You're going to see me.
Awesome. Hell yeah. That'd be great.
That'd be great. Yeah, we'll have a beer. But yeah, it's very exciting. You guys are hitting the road with Saliva, right?
Yeah, Saliva will be direct support, and then Kingdom Collapse will be on the majority of the tour. And then Kelsey Hickman will be filling in for them on the last 4 shows of the run.
Awesome. And then you guys have a forthcoming album yet to be named. So it's top secret. If we say it here, that he'll have to kill me.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
We had a date picked out and decided we're not ready.
Yeah.
So we're pushing that back. Yeah. We do have a new single coming out, and I'm going to say that it's around March 7th. Because that could also change. It's also changed in the last week. So, but around that time, you'll hear a new single, and it's one that we're extremely proud of. It was one of the first songs that we wrote while preparing for this album, and so we it's the song that ignited the whole thing. We weren't going to do another album. We decided people just wanted to hear the old stuff, and then after we did that song, it was like, oh shit, man, this one, we think this is really good. Maybe we should go ahead and do it. So we're excited about it.
That's awesome. What for the next single? Is it, are we staying in the realms of everything's cult? Or are we going more like Live Without It? What do you think stylistically it can be expected from this one?
I think this one is a little more, I don't want to say, it's like, I guess a little more in the alternative realm.
Right.
And a little more upbeat, it's a little more geared toward the female audience, I would say, than a heavy hard rock male audience.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what comes natural to us. That's what we've always kind of been known for, like our rock ballads, and just songs that have like a really good hook and a lyric that people can really relate to. That's what we're going for. So I think this one checks all those boxes.
That's great. That's really exciting. And over the past few years, you guys have dropped a couple cool covers along the way. I noticed as well, Life in the Fast Lane. It sounded really cool. And I was stoked to see that there was a cool acoustic version of Kay's Choice, Not an Addict. That's from my youth. I've covered that on my channel before. So that's awesome.
Yeah, man. Marshall brought that one in. One day he just had a guitar in his hand and just pulls it out. And we're like, what the hell? Where'd this come from? This is amazing. Let's do it.
Great song. Is there any other kind of dream covers? Have you had songs over the years that you've been there with the guys and you're sitting there and you're like, we should do a cover of this, and it's been like the one that you've been looking for, hoping for, something from your youth?
We've done so many, but it's really hard to pick a cover song.
It is.
Yeah. We're trying a new one on this run. So we'll see how it goes. But we're trying to update everything so that if we get out on the road and something that we're doing isn't working, we can pivot and make some changes on the fly. And so, we could end up changing this cover at any time. So we'll see what happens.
So on this tour, you can expect if you go see Hinder, they're going to be throwing out a cover on this show that should be interesting. So
yeah, we will. It's brand new.
Awesome. That's exciting. Well, dude, it's been an absolute blast just sitting down and hanging out and talking with you. Looking forward to getting a chance to see you guys play live. Looking forward to the new record, 7th studio album from Hinder, and you've had just a great success in your career. And just an excellent drummer, man. I've been watching a lot of the videos of you playing, and I've just been catching up on the whole history of the band, and you guys are awesome. And I wish you just the best of luck and excited to see what you do next, man.
Thanks so much, man. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll next time I'm in Oklahoma, if you're around, we'll definitely, go have a beer.
Hit me up time, man. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, dude. Thanks for coming by.
Later.
That was a lot of fun. It's what's so cool about when you meet somebody for the first time in an interview like that is you just don't necessarily know where the conversation is going to go. And I think that the gangster rap thing was like one of my favorite things that we stumbled upon accidentally, and then it came back later. I'm so happy that happened. And it was funny that he chose the Metallica Black album because that is something, as you know, who follow the show, I did an episode on that one as well, and I've had to kind of stand and defend it because I do think it's a valuable album. And just the other night, I was sitting with my kids in the living room and we were loading up YouTube videos of music that we like. Cause I like for my sons to show me what they're excited about. My oldest will show me artists and musicians and he shows me, songs on YouTube. My youngest will do the same. And then the fair exchange is I'm going to show them something from my youth and see if they're interested. And so we were trying all sorts of stuff and, they don't often. My oldest swears, he's like, I like your music, but you can see like I'm desperate to get them to enjoy something that I like. And so I was just scrolling and I saw Metallica's Sad But True, the video right there, because I was just and I was like, oh, this would be a fun one because this is like a perfect showing of kind of a heaviness because it's a heavier song, but it's that accessible heavy that we talked about with Cody on the show. And so I'm playing Sad But True, and I'm like head banging and singing along to it. And I think it's my youngest. He goes, is he saying Cybertruck? And we all just started cracking up. I couldn't resist. You saw the look on my face, and I was laughing so hard because we started singing instead of Sad But True, they started singing Cybertruck, and it was like here I was trying to show them. I was like, this is cool, and then it became just an absolute punchline there, Cybertruck. But it's funny because I don't know if you've ever seen the thing about how James Hetfield on Inner Sandman, he's like, it sounds like he's saying on the part where he goes, dreams of war, dreams of fire, dreams of dragons, fire, and the things that will bite. If you listen to that part of the song, it sounds like he says a baked apple pie. So now I've got 2 hilarious misheard lyrics that I can do with Metallica. Anyway, so that was a lot of fun to sit down with Cody. He was a good sport to come in today. You could tell if you watch the video, he's clearly on the road, traveling, having to carve out some time to sit down with me and do the show. So I'm grateful that he did. It was a lot of fun. Looking forward to going and checking him out at the Whiskey A Go-Go and seeing him drum on stage with the band and meet all those dudes. So again, you should probably check out the latest single that they dropped, Everything's a Cult. It has a great sound to it, some good screams and heavy riffs in there. And then, like I mentioned, some of those covers that they did were really, really awesome. And I'm excited to see what this album's going to sound like. And before I get out of here, I got to say thank you to Pantheon Podcast podcast. I'm so appreciative to be a part of the Pantheon family. This is the perfect kind of show to really present to you what it means to be a part of Pantheon podcast, because we open the door to just so many different types of bands and musicians and artists that you might not be familiar with or you knew about and you're surprised at them at cover. But that's the great thing about being a part of the Pantheon podcast family, is we really can present so many different amazing artists in this huge platform of the best music podcast that exists. And then I'm also going to remind you to make sure you use distrokid.com/VIP/waterproof to get that 30% off your first year. Thanks for joining me again on Waterproof Records. I had a great time. Thanks, Cody Hanson. Thanks to all the dudes at Hinder. And we'll see you next time. Talk to you later.
Things are gonna change. I can feel it.
If this gonna be that kind of party, I'm gonna